Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. The essence, that which is, simply is. The essence is not good, it's not bad, it's not holy or unholy, spiritual or unspiritual, pure or impure. It simply is. As soon as there is manifestation, there the pairs of opposite comes in. There is polarity, there's positive and negative on all the levels, subtle and gross. As long as that is in harmony, then everything is very peaceful and harmonious. If the harmony is not there, then in manifestation things can become very destructive. If the negativity takes over and controls a manifestation, then there is a lot of pain and a lot of destruction. And in this world, for a long time, negativity has been very much dominant. Look at the history. It's a history of wars, of struggles, of pains, of suffering. It has always had the other also. There were always these great beings. There were always spots where the opposite was manifesting, but generally it has been a history of struggle, of pain. And so the energy is like this, that if we are not careful, if we let go, if we let ourselves go, then it pulls us very easily into negativity. To open to the positive, it seems often a bit like uphill work. It needs an effort. It shouldn't be there like this. But as the energy is manifesting in this world, if people are not conscious, it's very much dominated by the negativity. And those who want to open up to that positive, expansive aspect, they know it always needs an effort. Those who make that effort and learn to relax in that more and more, they can be relaxed and it's not pulling to the negative. They make their own life better and actually they are doing a very great job, a very great service for whole humanity, for we are all connected to a collective consciousness and everyone who is getting more and more in a natural, relaxed way connected with the expansive is benefiting the others because it becomes easier for others also to do so. Eventually, the energy will change and this will be natural. Natural also in manifestation. But right now, actually, I said for a long time the negativity has dominated, but right now there is such a pressure around the world. And people who are not conscious are very much ruled by that, manipulated by that. It's so easy in this pressure cooker to just let go all that connects to the positive and the expansive and become very negative minded, negative mooded, and destructive. People getting irritable very quickly. It's frappant. If we look around, there is the aggression comes so quickly and so strongly, and people wonder what is wrong. Some people think, what is wrong with myself? How the way I'm acting and reacting so quickly. But actually, there is a lot of pressure in that direction. Nevertheless, if we are alert, we can go beyond that influence. If we are alert, in spite of that pressure, we can learn to bring the attention back to the present and open to the positive, open to the expansive. We cannot, with our mind, even if we can somehow accept as a concept, as a direction, that beingness, that the essence is beyond positive and negative. Still, it's too abstract for the mind to really comprehend it. But we can open to the positive. We can open to that which is expansive. Why should we? Because when the attention, when the experience becomes more and more expansive, then from there it's much easier to open the heart towards that which is beyond positive and negative, which is beyond the path of opposite, that which is prior to all this. But the more we are letting our attention slither downhill into the negativity, it's like the smaller the experience becomes, the more that sense of separation is getting stronger, and the more difficult it is to open up to that which is prior to all that. Although it is not positive or negative, still, if we are opening up to that which is harmonious, if we are opening up to that which is goodness for everybody, not just for one person, but which is expansive, then it's much easier to open the heart to that which is prior to all that. So it's good to be alert. This time is intensive and we can let that pull direct our life, be manipulated, experience pain and suffering all the time, or we can use that intensity that much the stronger to connect as good as we can with the essence. Automatically in manifestation, we will connect to that which is expansive, positive, that which is not ego-centered, but self-centered. Every moment we have the possibility. Just learn to be in touch with that and relax, and the experience automatically becomes more expansive. If we are not preventing consciousness, but let it be in its natural ability, then automatically consciousness, the conscious experience becomes more expansive because that's the nature of consciousness. The contraction is the law of the matter. It is necessary that a material reality can manifest, that contraction is there. And as long as it's on the material level, then it's perfectly all right. But then when we take that law of the matter into the mind on the subtle level, then that contraction becomes destructive. The law of consciousness is expansion. And if we are becoming natural, then that experience is expanding all by itself. So if you feel sometimes I'm reacting strongly, don't go and look too much for reasons anywhere else. Of course, everyone has their own stuff to work out, and often from the subconscious, old stuff comes up. But even then, that is very much supported, strengthened by that pressure that is there. So just when we become aware how much the tendency is there to react not harmoniously, to react in an unreasonable way, to react in a destructive way, then just remember, okay, that pressure is there. That's why it's not that basically now suddenly something is wrong with me. I just have to be careful not to be manipulated in that direction. But the manipulation is there, the energy is there, the pressure is there. Nevertheless, if you are aware of that, we can feel that, we can perceive when it's coming and wants to take over, and we can just let that pressure pass and come back to the essence as good as we can with our attention. Be here, be now, and then automatically in manifestation we connect with the positive, with the expansive. Now, Mariam has said she cannot be in the satsang, but she would like that I talk about a subject. Self-love and egoism. What is the definition of the two? How come from egoism to self-love? It's amazing that they can be confused, but they are often confused. And now in the modern new agey type of spirituality, there's a lot of talk of self-love, self-love, learn to love yourself. And of course, this can be mistaken then just to somehow pamper our little personality. And basically, just be okay with all the flows that are there, that are not necessary, that are destructive and create pain and suffering for ourselves or those around. It's not that we have to start to love this kind of stuff. Self-love means really that capacity to bring the attention back to that sense of presence. When I say I feel that sense of presence. If I'm not starting a whole story about it, but just that connection is there, connecting with that, no matter what, that is self-love. When as a personality we are making mistakes, we can see those mistakes. It's not necessary that we try to justify or deny. We can see those mistakes, but at the same time we need not start to stand in judgment. Okay, there I can handle things in a more harmonious, more constructive way. And then we learn from our mistake, and we need not hate ourselves, but we can expand and expand that self-love. Self-love on the personal level means that we stop always judging ourselves and feeling that I'm not good enough and maybe everybody is not happy with me, they may be judging me, but actually it's that we are judging ourselves. That is the problem. Okay, we look what's going on and see when things are not bright, when things are not harmonious, when things are not motivated by the basic love of existence that is there, there we can see, okay, there is room for improvement. We can change that. There's no need that we should judge and hate ourselves. To love oneself means to bring the attention back home to yourself and not to be obsessed with the role that I'm playing with the personality. Now, egoism is exactly the opposite. Egoism is that I'm totally identified with my role, that I'm a person, that I'm feeling totally separate from everybody else, and then my actions and my reactions are motivated by the personal advantage that I can possibly squeeze out of any situation. It's not expansive, that kind of identification, that kind of energy, that kind of mood and motivation makes the experience smaller. So don't be afraid of being friendly with yourself, also with your manifestation. If there are certain desires, they can also be fulfilled, but at the same time, don't be obsessed with pampering that manifestation. Identifying and thinking that is me, and in order to be happy, I need so many things. Actually, we need nothing of all this. You are in yourself complete and joyous. That happiness of existence is the joy of existence is simply there. But one can also, when the body is not feeling well, with love, deal with that situation and give the body what is needed in order to get better again. There's not egoism, as long as we are becoming, as long as we keeping that awareness, okay, this is just the vehicle through which I'm manifesting on this level and connect with the whole rest of this manifestation. We can very well keep that vehicle in good functioning order. That's not egoism, but if I'm identifying and think I am this body, I am this person, and I'm totally separate, and in order to be happy, I have to struggle to squeeze out for myself whatever I can, then of course it's not self-love, it's egoism. Then the consciousness, the experience becomes smaller, and that is always a painful business. So how to come from egoism to self-love? You just learn to bring the attention to that sense of presence and learn to relax in that. And there you are in self-love. Egoism is always fed, motivated by all our thinking. Anything is happening and immediately we have a reaction and start to think about and think about and think about, and it's always me, I, me. It's always trying to justify what I'm doing, what I'm not doing, even if it's not the harmonious, the good thing to do. Egoistic reactions that we think all the time about it, and that is what is feeding it. But self-love doesn't need any thoughts. You just bring this attention back to that sense of presence, that sense of being alive, that sense that is there prior to any thought or feeling or action or reaction that is not a personality. It is that still that makes the whole experience possible. It is that still that makes the personality possible, but the personality is the role, is a vehicle. I am that which is prior, and that is self-love. Learning to really open the heart for that which is self-love. If you are alert, then there is no problem between the two. As I said, it's nothing wrong keeping the vehicle in good condition, and it is still motivated by self-love. If we are identified and just are totally trying to pamper that body and be proud of the body, try to make it look as good as possible to get the others' attention and all that, that is not motivated by self-love, but that me, I, little personality. All right, I'm leaving the subject behind. It starts to wind and there are clouds, so maybe are going to get some rain. Let's see what is going to happen. Whether we can continue our satsang without disturbance or not. And I'm addressing you, my friends. Is there anyone who would like to come in and say something? You're welcome to do so.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Dial.
On the last satsang, we was talking a little bit about fake gurus.
Yes.
And you was saying if somebody following fake guru, we should not interfere. We should give this person, how did you say that, experience, have his own experience. I don't know. So I want to clarify this point.
Yes.
For example, I'm fighting with fake guru many years personally, and if I knew something, I immediately interfere. This is the fake. You should not go in.
Yeah.
Mostly people not listening to me, and it's useless shaking the air.
Yeah.
But still, I want to understand this thin line between real compassion and just want to be interfere that I know everything. For example, just 1 month ago, one of the regular member of your satsang was sharing that he visit wonderful places. And I'm 100% sure this is a sect. And I'm still thinking maybe I should inform, maybe I should do this. So can you talk about this subject?
Yes. Basically, as I said the last time, you can tell your bit if somebody talks to you and you become aware, okay, they go to a place and you think that place is not helpful, in contrary, then you can say what you feel. If you feel that person is open to listen and wants to discuss and wants to know more, then you can go on and talk about it. But if you feel there is immediately a wall and they don't want to hear your thing, then you can accept, okay, then you have also to accept that you cannot force other people to go the way that you think is right. Then it becomes actually again a me self-important thing that I know what's right, and so I have to tell them what is right. Even in your heart, you may feel you're right, and you have the right to convey that. But then when you see, anyhow, it's clear, they don't want to hear that, then you give it over to God and don't insist and start a fight with them. Because it doesn't bring anything. They just take stronger positions, and then it becomes a matter of who is right and who is wrong, and not more whether this is good or whether this is not good. And people have to make their own experiences. And even if somebody goes to a place that is maybe not so helpful, maybe they have to experience what they are experiencing there in order to grow, to be open to for something more expensive.
Okay, and then I want to ask you about what is correct promotion of, for example, of correct way or correct religion, for example. Yes, because now it's many fake gurus making business on it, and of course, business make very good promotion comparing to, for example, your satsang. Yeah, no promotion at all, and very few people know about you, and so do a correct way need any promotion or not?
You cannot say it's like this or like that. Whether somebody is doing advertisement and or not, you cannot make that in a touchstone whether that is sincere or not. Some may have that role and that mission to be very much in the public and exposed, and that doesn't mean make them bad, but they can be very, very much connected with the truth, with the essence, and in that way bring that to many people. And some may not have that destiny or that mission that this should now be spread, and so everybody should somehow know about it. You cannot judge it because of that. So there is not one correct way to go about it. Like Mahatmas may have very, very different roles to play in this world. Some Mahatma may sit like Ramana Maharshi in one space and not do anything externally, and another Mahatma may be active like Ammaji and go around the world and build things and create a whole little empire in order to somehow reach many people also on this level, and both is right. You cannot say one is right and one is wrong. So listen to your heart and don't look so much on all those details in order to feel whether somebody is genuine or not. Then if you connect with a teacher and you listen to your heart, you may not know exactly where that teacher is at, but what you can know in your heart, whether that is good for you or not. And that is the most important. And if you feel, no, that's not for me, then you just leave it. Then basically that's that. And leave the rest in God's hand, whether they are getting followers or not getting followers. It's not your duty to run and say others that they should not go and follow that. But if somebody is with a teacher and they are in doubt and they are in trouble and they come to you and ask you, please, Dial, tell me, what is your feeling about this? Then you can honestly tell what you feel about it. And maybe that helps them to make the step to get out of a not very fortunate situation.
Thank you, Werner. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome to do so. Now the wind is changing. Usually I'm sitting in such a way that the wind comes from the back side of my webcam because I'm using also that microphone. So I have as little as possible wind sound. So now it's changing all the time. But it doesn't look like a heavy rainstorm is coming. It's blowing it away. So I think we can continue.
If nobody has a
Yeah,
question,
you're welcome.
yes, I would want to add something. I feel inside of myself this busyness to tell what is right, what is wrong to other people. And I see that I'm very, how to say, extrovert. I always thinking about others. I thinking about others' mistake. And my mistake, I'm not thinking very seriously. Oh, this is just a little bit. Nothing. For example, I'm very serious about how to develop Vipassana center and about relationship between Dhamma workers.
Yeah.
And I spent much more time thinking about it than actually meditating in this center. So the question is, this extrovertedness is just a craziness. Actually, I'm very interesting to how people living in different countries. Even I never planning to go there. Yeah. So, for example, I'm very interested in different galactics of our universe.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not. I spending not so much time to changing myself. So, how to change this biggest mistake of my behavior? I think extrovertedness and become more serious about changing inside of myself.
I mean, it's not that you should now live as an ascetic somewhere locked up in a cave and not more be in touch with anything that is happening. And everybody is curious about what happens in the galaxies. But of course, this is all about the manifestation. And if we really want to find peace, if we really want to be in harmony, we have to find that in ourselves. And for that, it's basically better to look at our own behavior and see there is room for improvement than to look at everybody else and point out to them what they could do better. Like Jesus said to his people, it's easy to see the little speck in the eye of somebody else, but all that big beam that we are having ourselves, we are overlooking easily. So first take out our own beam, and then if we still feel it's okay and necessary, we can also go around and remove the specks in other people's eyes. So you ask how to change the outlook by just whenever you become aware, okay, there is that habit that is always looking and maybe criticizing and maybe judging what people are doing. Then when you become aware of that, then just at that moment, step a step back. And don't hold on to but this time I'm right, it's really wrong what they are doing, but okay, there I'm going again. And then it's not more a matter whether it's right or wrong what they are doing, but that you just learn at that moment, bring the attention back to yourself. Be here, be now. Focus on that sense of presence. You use your tools you have learned in Vipassana, that when you become aware that my mind goes again and is criticizing and judging and yang with others, or instead of trying to control it or stop it, or you just redirect the attention. See what these thoughts, these emotions, what they are doing to your experience in your body, in your system right now, and learn to relax. The more you are doing that, then the more you thought, how can you make that in the priority? That's how you go about it. In one way or another, when we become aware how much we are absorbed into matters that need not that much absorption, then we just learn to redirect the attention. See what our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, what they are doing to our experience right now in our body, subtly, how it is affecting the experience, and learn to relax and let that bring you back to that sense of presence. When you get rooted, the more you get rooted in that, the more you also don't take it so serious if things are not working out in the best way all around. Then you still can bring your creative, positive input in a situation, can give your ideas about things if somebody is interested in our ideas. Otherwise, maybe not. But it's not that we should hold back. You can very well be creative and be involved in life and be with people and try to figure out how is the best way to go about it. But when the more you get rooted, basically in that sense of presence, that is first, then the less important this becomes. The less you take your role important, the less you take important whether the other fellow is now doing everything in a good way or not so good way. Because you become more and more aware this is not as real as it appears, this momentary. It's a magic show we are just playing along with for some time, but what matters is that that inner experience is expanding.
Okay, Werner. Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello,
Hari
Vikas.
Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Werner, my question is if you can throw some light on sorrowness, sadness, and despair, which keeps coming to us. Like
Yes.
normally we keep living our life, then suddenly this whole thought and emotion starts coming,
Mm.
and then we how to deal with it and why does it keep coming?
Yes. I mean, as long as you are appearing in a human form, all the whole range of emotion is there as a potential and can spring up anytime. And sadness is not a negative experience. You see a situation, you are maybe connected to a situation, and there comes sadness. And if we can accept the situation, and if we can accept the sadness, then that experience is actually absolutely nothing negative. But then we have the tendency to hook into it and resist against the fact of situations, the fact of something that is happening, and start to struggle. And then out of that actually nice and expansive experience of sadness, then there comes that struggle, and there it leads eventually to despair, because we keep on resisting against the fact and it shouldn't be like this, and why is it this, and why has it happened, and why has it happened to me again, and repeating that. Then it's not more the situation, but then my own inner struggle, my own not incapacity to accept things, even if they are not to my liking. we have our ideas how things should be, and many times it just doesn't happen that way. Just many times it happens in a very different way, and there we may react with anger or we may react with sadness. But if we see the emotion coming, see what it is doing, enjoy it maybe even for some time, and then gradually it fades away again. But if it invokes that mental thing and oh my God, and why is this happening? And it should not be like this, and it's not just, and just not not accepting effect, then we invariably make ourselves miserable. Accepting facts liberates you. Not accepting facts makes us miserable. Even if it's a temporary relative fact, the fact of the experience is still a momentary fact. And if we are resisting, then we are in trouble. If we can accept, then it doesn't matter. But acceptance doesn't mean weakness. Acceptance simply means that we are not putting up these walls. No, 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 no. That in that acceptance, actually, we are strong. And when we can accept the situation, then we can also much easier deal with that situation very creatively and harmonious. Sadness we cannot avoid, but it doesn't have to turn into despair. That is the result of how we deal then with a situation that is sad.
Right. Thank you, Werner. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very well.
Hari
Very
Om. Hari Om. Somebody else who would like to come? You're welcome. That question of Vikas is basically touching on the key how to live happy. The circumstances, they change. Sometimes they are favorable, sometimes they are not favorable. Sometimes they are happy circumstances, sometimes they are not happy circumstances. Nothing wrong arranging our life in such a way that we like the circumstances if it is possible. But if we make our happiness dependent on it, then we are in trouble. If we learn to become more and more aware that the self is the source of happiness, it's coming out of myself, not out of the circumstances, then we become more and more capable of accepting things the way they come. Doesn't mean we have to like everything. Sometimes circumstances come and we don't like them at all. That is not the problem. The problem is that after that, because I don't like it, I cannot accept that they are the way they are. If we can accept, okay, now I'm in a situation that basically I don't like, but so what? Then it's not a problem. When the resistance comes, it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like this. There we start to really lose our energy. There we start to create that wall, strengthen that experience of separation of me and the others, and then being angry and miserable that things are not going my way and I cannot be happy, while actually fulfillment and happiness is always present. It's here, it's there for the taking. If we open up our heart to the source where it's coming from, then we become aware, I am the source of my own happiness. I am the source of my own fulfillment. I need not get it from somewhere. And because that is there, then we need not resist the circumstances. We can give our creative energy into the current of manifestation. We can do wonderful things. We can bring the beauty of creativity, whatever we are doing. But if we make our happiness dependent on the outcome of it, it has to turn out this way or that way. And if it's not turning out the way I want it, then I'm getting pissed and I'm getting angry, I'm getting miserable, or I'm getting depressed. But if we playfully manifest whatever creativity we have, and at the same time, we are capable of accepting that maybe things are not turning out the way I would like it, but so what? The very fact that I'm expressing whatever wants to be expressed is already fulfilling and joyous, and we need not be fixed on what is going on there. And listen up. Yeah. Call a book up. Okay. Put up this because now really the rain is coming, and she brought an umbrella to make sure that the whole electronic equipment is not going to get sprayed. All right. So if we bring our creativity in a situation that in itself is already fulfilling, we need not be fixed on an outcome. And if we are not fixed on an outcome, then we are capable of taking things the way they come. And sometimes, of course, things happen, and for a moment there is a big reaction. Oh, why is it like this? But then, if we are not holding on to that reaction, there it is not a problem. The reaction comes, it's there, it goes. You are the source of your happiness. You are what you are. And the circumstances don't influence that. You're complete in yourself. And if you are aware of that, then even when things are turning out bad, one is not getting desperate. There may be sadness, there may be a feeling of, I don't swing in harmony with those circumstances. So what? Deep down, you're aware it cannot really touch you. It cannot destroy that joyousness of existence. Nothing can hurt you really. Then we are not letting sadness, hooking into sadness, and let us pull deeper and deeper into dark holes of self-pity and despair. Then we can go about life playfully, playing our role, doing things. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. But always aware, this is just a momentary game. I can go through it playfully, learn every moment, expand the experience. That's what we are here for. That's what the human life is meant to be. That we playfully, joyously go on this journey. That we playfully, joyously go from moment to moment, expressing that inner beauty and in course of the process expand, unfold. It's only if we are so totally identifying with the role and create that sense of separation, and then with that sense of separation comes the idea, I need this and I need that, I need so many things in order to be happy, in order to be fulfilled, because otherwise I'm miserable. The more we are going in that mood, then the more this becomes a painful story. If we don't go into that, then we just can play along from moment to moment, from day to day, from year to year. Okay, I'm asking again. Is there anyone who would like to come in and say something? You are welcome. There it starts to drift a bit from the root on the table. Careful that my children is not getting all wet. They wouldn't like that so much. It seems the main rain is already over for the time being. So nobody wants to talk? You want me to?
I could.
Somebody says something? Hello. Hello, Anita.
Hello, Werner. I'm not sure what the question will be, but it is about probably about Advaita Vedanta, and I had a situation recently where I expressed my feelings that just came up. Or actually, I didn't express them. I just was speechless because I was sending some voicemail, and then I had this feeling, and I was speechless, and I just said, "Oh, okay, I'm speechless." And then later, the person asked me why, and I shared about what feelings came up, and then the response was, "It's all thought." Finish. Conversation finished. I mean, yes, and it's a person is very dear to me. It's a friend of mine. I've been together with him many years ago, and he's giving satsang, and was a very sweet person. But this was always like, yeah, it's all thought. It's so. And then I asked myself, okay, how would I, not with him, I don't have to discuss that with him, but there are many people, I guess, who, well, I have this not knowing how to convey or bridge it myself, or Yeah, I mean, I know this body, mind, feeling, thoughts, everything is part of the duality, and it's coming out of the oneness. But anyway, I don't know what the question is, but maybe how to convince some people who are so fixed on this. It's all illusion. It's all thought. Finish, conversation finished. And you can never, I can never go deep with this person, or, I don't know, meet them. Yeah.
Just for my clarification, first you said something happened that just made you speechless.
Right.
Right. And then you talked about that situation, and instead of coming into your story and showing some interest, it's all thought. But the situation, has it made you speechless out of fear, or was there?
No, actually out of love.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay. And then you know that love is not simply thoughts, that it was really flowing through you. After that, then when we think about it, there are maybe a lot of thoughts, and that we may forgo. But right, it's not all experience is simply thought, but it can be a genuine manifestation.
Mm. Mm.
So don't let yourself get this. Don't become insecure if somebody comes and talks to you like this, when you have actually a precious experience, and then somebody wants to put it down and say, oh, it's only thought. But in that moment, there was a special intensity. It may not be an ultimate experience, but in that moment, there is an intensity that is precious. And by remembering that situation, you may again somehow tune into that intensity.
Mm.
And then there is absolutely no problem with it. The problem would start that when after an experience like this, I think, oh my God, what can I do to repeat it? What can I do to have it again? And there all the thoughts come that create the problems. That something wonderful happens, and then after that, the mind comes, I want to repeat it, I want to repeat it. And there, usually, instead of finding happiness, we make ourselves miserable.
Mm.
But if you can treasure that moment and remember, and that very memory again makes you tune, at least to some extent, in the intensity of the moment, that brings you back to yourself, then there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. By all means, treasure that experience. When you catch yourself thinking about it and the thoughts start to make problem, there is better to work on that and detach from that again. But the experience in itself is not a thought. After that, what we make with it, there is a lot of thoughts with it.
Mm-hmm.
But the experience at that moment is real.
Mm. Mm.
It's temporary, but at that moment, it's real. Like in a dream, we are dreaming stuff, it's not real, it's dream, but yet in spite of that, when we are in the dream and believe in the dream, it's real as an experience. And if an experience helps you to connect deeper with yourself, then that experience has value. Then we need not push it away. Like there's also in the Advaitic circle very much like people who are on the way and they talk about their experiences. People, of course, have the tendency to talk a bit much about their experience and make a big fuss about it. But then to just brush that away as completely useless. And this is not quite true. Like, of course, still, whether we see just a truck rushing by, making a lot of noise, or whether we have a divine vision, it's still an experience. And ultimately, we have to come with the attention to that which makes the experience possible. But some kind of experiences have the tendency to make us more restless, to clutter our mind, to clutter our psyche. And some kind of experiences, they are purifying. There are experiences that help us to let go of stuff that we are carrying along. And so precious experiences, we need not run after that, but when they come, we can also very much appreciate them and appreciate the value of them. Without thinking, oh, now I'm something great because I had that experience. Then that is thought, which we better avoid. But appreciating the beauty of a deeper experience, being alert and not getting into the trap, what can I do to repeat it, but just appreciate that it has happened, can be very inspiring and encouraging.
Wouldn't it be strange if we would all sit around and just we wouldn't even talk with each other when it's all thought, it's all
Right. After all, the people who do talk like this, they also having their stuff and going through their life and have their confrontations.
That's it, yes. But how to, well, I don't have to, but how to convey that to that people, that exactly what you just said. I mean,
well, if you have the idea that maybe you could get through and something positive is happening, then you just connect with yourself and let come out whatever comes out at that moment. But if you think it's anyhow hopeless, then you better don't even try. Then you
Yes.
live for yourself what you think is important, what is true, and then you never mind if the others want to feel and think the way they feel and think, even if you feel there is something not quite all right, then so be it. They have to go their way and go through their experiences.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Very, um,
Rain has come back, this time from the other side. Let's go back. Maybe I was right to bring 2 umbrellas because here is dripping from the roof and there it's winding, raining from outside. So there we are in our tent. Is there anybody else who would like to say something?
Yeah.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. I'm Delphine. Thank you
Hello,
very
Delphine.
much. Hello. And you were speaking about sadness before.
Yes.
And I'd like to share an understanding, maybe please, with you that after this big feeling of sadness can be so present, even if we are really connected. There is a big feeling of loneliness. Even going through this loneliness, accepting this fact, even if there is cats and people around, but big deep loneliness. And I notice that this loneliness can afraid me, and in all those steps, I'd like to understand a little bit more, please.
Right. That feeling of loneliness can be very heavy. I remember it well. I've had a lot of that when I grew up. Although it was easy for me to communicate with people, still that feeling of loneliness was there a lot. Thinking, I'm alone and people don't understand what I'm talking, they're feeling alone, that nobody gets it, what I'm feeling so strange and lonely. And then I get in a situation and think finally, here I am with people, everything is fine. After a short time, the same thing comes back and same story. You know, we are in a way alone, but it's not something that is sad. The sadness comes because then when we feel alone, we feel separate. We create that sense of separation, and then there is that feeling of loneliness, and that is painful. But actually, we are connected with everything. Everything is connected. And then that aloneness is not sad. Actually, in contrary, the same thing that creates that feeling of loneliness and feeling separate, if we let go of that sense of separation, more and more start to feel connected with the whole of existence, then that aloneness is actually our strength. That aloneness makes us aware there is an aspect in me that cannot be touched, that cannot be hurt. Whatever is happening, nobody can in any way hurt it. There is something that is so pristine and beautiful. And out of that feeling of separate loneliness can grow that sense of aloneness, of all oneness. So when that feeling comes, just accept that it is there. Don't fight it and think, oh my God, I'm again in that, and going around and feeling bad and feeling, all right, accept the feeling. But it's like you step a step back and just watch what it is doing. Observe how it is manifesting in your body. Observe what it is doing to you energetically, and relax in it. And more you become aware, okay, actually, I can observe the feeling, I can observe the manifestation, the reactions it has, but there is that observing, so there is something that is not touched by all this. And then we can learn to shift the attention to that, and then the loneliness has absolutely no more power of creating suffering.
Okay. I thank you so much.
I wish you well. Hari Om.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Is there anybody else who would like to come in? Say something? This subject of loneliness is something that is there more or less with everybody. And I remember, I know how we can suffer from that. But all that suffering comes out of resistance. If we become aware that our well-being is not dependent from a feedback that we are getting outside, that our well-being comes out of our own self, if we don't prevent it with our mental activities, if we learn to live in the moment, in the flow, if we learn to relax in that beingness, then we become more and more aware that sense of fulfillment is coming out of myself. And then that waiting for the feedback from outside is dissipating. That painful, lonely feeling can only be there because we waiting for a feedback. We are waiting that people appreciate us, that people understand us, that people have some empathy for us, that people at all recognize that we exist. That we are waiting for that support in order to feel strengthened, in order to feel complete. But actually, we don't need to wait for any such thing because all that is there in ourselves. It's coming from our own self. When we learn to relax in the present, we become aware. All that we have been expecting from outside, it's always coming from our own self. Even if some people come to us and say nice things, and then we feel very nice about it, actually there we like the situation, we like the attention, we let go, we relax for some time. We are not resisting the fact of the experience, and in that non-resistance we are relaxing, and that inner sense of fulfillment comes to the surface. After that, in the mind, we think, oh, I felt so good because this person said this to me, because this person did something nice to me, because I got the feedback that I wanted. But actually, even then, the real sense of fulfillment came out of ourselves. And the more we become aware of that, the less we are expecting feedback in order to feel complete. And the less we are expecting, the more the pain of loneliness simply disappears, because the loneliness has turned into aloneness, into that awareness I am complete in myself, into that awareness I'm connected with everything that is, into that awareness I am invulnerable. That which is cannot be hurt. So I don't need the feedback. I don't need the appreciation. I don't need to be reassured that I'm not so bad, because I know from my own experience this comes all out of myself. I don't have to go and look for that anywhere. You are the source of your happiness. You are the complete in yourself. Is there anyone who would like to come in?
Hi, Werner.
Hello, Nava.
I want to continue with this about loneliness and aloneness.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm on my own, I can feel, I don't tend to feel alone.
Mhm.
Okay. When I'm with a group like a satsang, because other people are doing what I'm doing, it also doesn't feel alone.
Mhm.
But with most people who seem to be miserable and angry, and I end up feeling alone much more than I do when I'm on my own. And I feel that they affect me so much
Mm.
that I end up feeling, I think I've talked about this in different ways. I end up feeling what they're feeling.
Mm.
And then I feel, and this also happens with people I care about a lot. I try to share some of the things that are really important to me.
Yes.
And I feel like they don't know what I'm talking about on the whole.
Yes.
Right. And yet there seems to be this need. I keep reaching out because there's that need to talk to others, share with others.
Mm.
But on the whole, it doesn't really do me much good. And I don't quite know what to do about that.
You can very well reach out to people, you can very well talk to people, but then if somehow you feel it's not reaching and it doesn't make a connection, then you can accept the situation. Okay, that's how it is. And not desperately try and drill through the wall and think maybe somehow this way, that way we can connect and I can reach or something. But accept, all right, there is something from you that wants to flow over and it doesn't reach, and then we have to learn to accept, okay, that's how it is. Subtly, still something is reaching, even if it's not reaching the mental level and there is not an acceptance or maybe even a wall and a rejection. In the heart, still something is reaching. But you don't have to be obsessed with going after people and trying to somehow tell them. If the situation is there and if it comes joyously, spontaneously, fine, wonderful, but not out of a compulsion that somehow you have to go around and sort of talk to people and maybe shake people up.
Yeah.
You could shake up the whole world. But when you feel it comes in a harmonious way, and there is also somebody or there a group of people or just a situation where it reaches, then this is wonderful. So you don't have to stop doing that, but at the same time, it has. If it's a compulsion, then of course you will be disappointed a lot of the time because you try to connect, you try to reach, and you feel it's not working, and then you may have a reaction about it.
What about this effect that people have on me? I find that I actually feel like I'm feeling other people's feelings.
Yes.
And I get lost.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to say, well, okay, the feeling, you feel something and you don't have to cling to it or think about it.
Yeah.
But I often don't know, is this my reaction to something, or is it just that I'm feeling what somebody else is feeling?
In a way, everybody does that. No, we are not quite aware of it, that this is happening, but one living organism is affecting another living organism. We may not be aware how much it does, but it is affected anyhow. So, like a group of people is in a room, somebody else comes, and immediately the whole energetic setup changes because it adjusts to the new situation. And so we are energetically influencing each other all the time. And so we can feel emotions of other people, maybe not consciously, but unconsciously, people still feel it. What you can do is make yourself strong, and you make yourself strong by being centered in the present, in yourself. So when you feel this is getting a bit much, you're feeling you are in the situation and you feel the emotions of the people, and maybe it's a bit destabilizing that this is happening, then just center, breathe, relax. Center, breathe, relax. And then you become more and more transparent. Then your own energy is getting established, and then you are not getting so easily shaken by whatever feelings are there, and you becoming more transparent. So the feelings come, but they pass through like a puff of air.
I heard someone say that this week, that we can be like a glass. It's just what you were saying, right? The glass lets the light through, but then it passes through.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I really need to. The relaxed part is hard. Yeah.
Use a physical center. It makes it a bit easier. Physically, you center in the center where you center most naturally, and be aware of the breath and relax as good as you can.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. There we are back with what often I have called the magic formula. Center, breathe, relax. In so many situations where things are happening that may destabilize us, shake us out of our balance, of our equilibrium, there are other ways to go about it. This is the way, for me, it has to become the most powerful and my favorite way. So I'm talking again and again about it. Use the magic formula. Use the physical center where you center easiest. Center. And centering in the using the physical center helps you to center in that timelessness of the now. We don't have to get stuck on the physical level, but it's an easy point to start. Physically feel a center, be aware of the breath and relax, and the attention is redirected to that which counts, which is strong, which is alive here now. And then more and more may happen, whatever in manifestation, that we are with people, and what Nava just now described, the energies and the emotions of people may be overwhelming. Maybe if we are with a person, we are close, it's overwhelming, that those emotions, but sometimes also with people we don't know, just being in a crowd, it may be overwhelming. What kind of energies are going on there and emotions that are going on there. We need not fear them, just become stronger, more and more strong by becoming transparent. You become easily transparent by centering, breathing, relaxing. Or if that is somehow too difficult, 2 aspects already is very much helpful. Just breathe and relax. Breathe and relax. Center and relax. And you're right back home. strong, capable of dealing with the situations that are around easier and easier, becoming more and more like a rock, immovable, not hard, not that aspect of the rock, strong and immovable, like a rock, and the waters of life, they just flow around you. They go around you and leave you unmoved. I wish you all well. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.